Discrimination still exists in the university. It comes from the clerks and university authorities rather than from the students.
If I live in this country, I don't see a future for myself. I have to go abroad. I have to go to another country to have a good future.
The political situation since the military coup in February 2021 and the conflict which followed has disrupted the education of many young people. But in Rakhine State, recent travel restrictions are just the latest of many barriers to education access for young Rohingya students. Hello and welcome to Do Athan, a weekly podcast about human rights stories from Myanmar. It's brought to you by Fondation Hirondelle. This episode is produced by a Frontier Myanmar journalist. Names and voices may have been changed to protect contributors.
Now it's more difficult. Living is difficult. I don't have a job. I can't find a job. I can't go to Sitwe University now. The roads are blocked.
Ko Tun Tun is studying psychology at Sitwe University. At the end of his second year, he went back to his hometown, Maungdaw. Now he can't get back to university to resume his final year because fighting between the Myanmar military and the Arakan army has resumed in Rakhine State. The military regime has imposed restrictions on travel by road or waterways. Ko Tun Tun is not the only student facing this situation in Rakhine State, but he has had to clear so many obstacles just to attend university in the first place. Ko Tun Tun is from the Rohingya ethnic minority. And for 10 years, Rohingya were banned from attending universities along with other students. This followed the sectarian violence in Rakhine State in 2012, after which over 100,000 Rohingya were placed in camps and their rights and movements severely restricted. When the ban was lifted in 2022, Ko Tun Tun was in the first group of Rohingya freshmen at Sitwe University. And he is the first of his siblings to attend university. His 3 older siblings had no chance. But there are still difficulties and restrictions.
I'm so happy going to university, but I've been stressed by some of the things I've experienced. I don't feel I am free because we are not allowed to stay in dorms, and we cannot move around Sitwe as we like. I want to complete my university studies, but I also don't know if my parents can afford it.
His parents are farmers who are working hard to put Ko Tun Tun through university. They now face increased insecurity and restrictions because of the renewed conflict. Attending university costs most students at least 400,000 kyat a month, or about $190. But Rohingya students are not allowed to live in the cheap university dorms, which cost about 20,000 kyat per month. Instead, they have to share private accommodation and pay at least double that price. Go Min Min is another Rohingya student at Sitwe University, in the same year as Ko Tun Tun. He has asked for permission to live in these dorms to reduce the cost to his parents, also farmers, but with no luck.
We talked to the teachers, but they refused to grant permission. Their reasoning was based on the possibility of conflict between Rakhine and Rohingya students if we shared the same dorm, because we're racially different. The teachers told us that such clashes could tarnish the university's reputation, and that's why they denied us accommodation in the dorms.
Apparently, there have been no clashes or tensions between different students since Rohingya were readmitted in 2022. In fact, Ko Tun Tun from the Rakhine Student Union said they fully supported the readmission. He's not happy with the attitude of university authorities.
It is intentional discrimination against Muslims in Rakhine. Muslims were allowed to attend university 2 years ago. We worked together with them to get the permission for Muslims in Rakhine State to attend university.
Do Than has been unable to get a comment from the relevant authorities at Sitwe University. But a Rohingya activist, Ko Pyo, has heard of many examples of discrimination from officials.
တက္ကသိုလ်ထဲမှာတော့ခွဲခြားဆက်ဆံမှုတွေကတော့ရှိသေးတယ်။ကျောင်းသားတွေဘက်ကအဲ့လောက်
Discrimination still exists in the university. It comes from the clerks and university authorities rather than from the students. When Rohingya students approach the Student Affairs Department, the staff ignore or dismiss them, or delay their requests. They're still not allowed to stay in student dorms, and they're also excluded from financial scholarships provided by the university.
Ko Pyo pointed out that Rohingya are still far from having equal rights to further education. Out of 7 universities and colleges in Rakhine State, they're only allowed to study at Sitwe University. They are barred from attending technological universities, computer colleges, or from studying law. They can't do a master's degree. They can't even choose which subjects they want to study. These are assigned to them. Rohingya people also still face extra challenges because of travel restrictions and the fact that many of them do not have national registration cards. These national IDs have been retracted from Rohingya by successive Myanmar governments, leaving most people with national verification cards that identify them as non-citizens. This means Rohingya students from rural areas like Ko Tun Tun and Ko Min need a special permit just to be allowed to travel to university. And that involves a nightmare of bureaucracy. People have to fill in Form 4 and collect at least 12 bits of documentation, including personal ID and family records, 2 referees, and letters of recommendation from a ward administrator, the Township General Administration Department, and the local police station. If they do manage to get a travel permit at the immigration office, they then have to extend this every month. Once they finish the university year, no more extensions are allowed and they have to return home. And of course, all of this costs money, both official fees and bribes that might be required. The NRC card is also required for certain professional degrees or vocational courses, which limits Ko Tun Tun, who wants to study other subjects at external training centres.
I want to go to Yangon and take a computer course or English diploma. If I have a national registration card, I can attend, but I don't have an NRC.
Rakhine Student Union, a Rohingya activist, said that the restriction by successive governments of Rohingya's right to education is considered a part of genocide.
တော့ဒီလူမျိုးဒီ community တစ်ခုလုံးပျက်စီးဖို့အတွက်ကပညာရေးကအမတန်အရေးကြီး
Education is essential for a community not to fall apart. As long as people are educated, you can never destroy them. Because educated people can help find more ways for the community to survive. When they restrict our right to education, they are trying to destroy our people. Restriction on education is a component of genocide.
So Rohingya students face travel challenges related to their ID status, as well as the renewed conflict, restricted access to further education options, and higher expenses if they get to university. It's no wonder that many are becoming discouraged. The activist we spoke to said around 230 Rohingya students have enrolled at Sitwe University since the ban on attendance was dropped in 2022. But they say that in the last academic year, at least 30% of Rohingya students dropped out, and about 90% of the students are apparently finding it very difficult to continue. Ko Pyo said some students are also demotivated because, even with a degree, they're restricted in their job opportunities.
ကျောင်းပြီးတော့ဒီအလုပ်လုပ်မယ်ဆိုတဲ့အဖြေမျိုးရိုဟင်ဂျာတွေမှာမရှိဘူးမရှိဘူးဆိုတာကျောင်းပြီးတယ်
Rohingya students usually don't have an answer about which jobs they want after university. That's because they don't have the same opportunities to work as civil servants or work for a company after finishing university. They'll just have to take any suitable job, whether they finish school or not. They might continue in their parents' job, or they just have to take whatever job is available.
Go Min Min knows the job that he wants is not available to him.
I really want to become a government school teacher, but the government doesn't allow Rohingya to become teachers. They don't allow us to do decent jobs. I just think it's our fate.
And Ko Tun Tun can't see a future for himself in Myanmar, so he's hoping to go overseas.
If I could go abroad, I could make money. If not, I will teach in my village. If I live in this country, I don't see a future for myself. I have to go abroad. I have to go to another country to have a good future.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Doathan. We'd welcome your feedback on social media. This project on human rights reporting is supported by Fondation Hirondelle with the help of our donors. You can listen to our podcast via the Doathan Facebook page. They can also be found on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes and Spotify. You can also listen every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. and Sunday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. on Voice of America Radio. Please tune in again next week.